Creative has sent through their latest 4K webcam for us to test out. Here are the specs on paper, but let's take a look at real world scenarios with different lighting to see how this actually performs. In a completely dark room with just a glow coming from my monitor, we can be seen, but there is a lot of flickering and grain to the image. The movement is very choppy too, so you will definitely want to be using some lighting on yourself with this. With natural light coming in through the window, and I'm overexposed on the one side of my face, which I kind of expected. But that image quality is actually pretty good, but there does seem to be more in the way of blurring on the size of the image. Now you can go into the manual settings in OBS and manually configure the exposure, and this does help reduce that glow down the one side of my face. But you do actually have a button on top of the webcam itself, and this is for backlight compensation. Now what I quite like about this is you don't actually need to go through the settings in software. Tapping this button does pretty much the same job as manually configuring the exposure. The only issue I have with this really is that the inbuilt microphone picks up you clicking this. So I wanted to test this out with some light coming in directly behind me, and we do get a lot of glare from that light coming in, but we can be seen, so you could get away with this for a quick video call. Tapping that button on top and going to the darkest setting, and this is the best we can do with that glare in the background, but the image is a little too dark, so it is usable, but ideally you wouldn't want a window directly behind you. With a pair of ring lights in front of me, and this looks amazingly good for the exposure. Now I'm not sure if I'm actually using the out of the box settings now, because when I press that button on top, there's no way to kind of know which option you've got selected, but whatever it is, it looks really good here. But pressing this button can really destroy that image, as you can let in too much of this backlight compensation, but this button can be a bit of a lifesaver as it's much quicker than going into software and manually configuring this yourself. Switching on some coloured backlights behind, and this looks pretty good to me. Movement looks as though we are getting the full 30 frames per second in the 4K mode, but the colours you use as your backlights will play a big part in this, because when I switch to purple, my face turns green. Now it's not the end of the world, because you can manually configure the white balance in OBS, and playing around with this slider, you can actually sort this out. So do bear that in mind if you're someone who has lights on behind you. Now you can drop the resolution down to 1080p on this and get 60 frames per second. This will bring you much more fluent movement, but it will be at the expense of that image quality. But if you are going to shrink that frame down for a live stream, then you're probably not really going to notice a loss in quality. Now you will notice that this has a huge 95-degree field of view, which means a lot of your background is going to be on display, and unfortunately there's no zoom option on this, which means you are kind of lumbered with this 95-degree, which means if you're doing live streaming or video calls, people will be able to see your background. Now this has manual focus, which means that if you're bringing an object closer to the lens, then it will become blurry, but you can actually resolve this by turning the lens on the front. Now this will allow you to bring things close to the lens and get really good focus on there, but it means if you move the object away, it will become blurry and you will need to manually configure the ring on the front of the lens. And this will obviously be the same case if you're trying to focus on an ID card and you need to show the information to somebody on the other end. So you can really dial in that focus. There's no focus hunting at all on this, but it might be a bit of a headache if you constantly want to bring things to the lens and then refocus back on you. Removing a green screen in OBS, and you should get yourself a good result with this. There is a lot of pixelation at the bottom of mine. That is due to my dodgy lighting setup. And just to prove the point, when I bring a handheld light over and shine it where this pixelation is, it does remove it. So as long as you've got decent lighting on yourself, you should be fine with this. Now it does come with dual inbuilt microphones, and there is a switch on top of this, so you can actually disable the microphones if you don't want to use them. This is a microphone test of the Creative 4K webcam. This is the out of the box settings, so nothing has been changed. This is what it sounds like. So under the Smart Comms Kit option, we have voice detect and noise clean out. So what I'm going to do is enable some background sounds happening now, which is a police siren. Don't know if you can hear this yet. And what we'll do is we'll enable the voice detect, and with a bit of luck, it should remove that sound. This is us speaking, and now when we stop speaking, after 2 seconds, all the background sound should be disabled. The other option we have is the noise clean out. Now what this will do is remove background sound, make your vocals come through more clean. Give you an example. So if we've got this vacuum cleaner, I'm going to turn it on, you'll hear what it sounds like, and then we'll enable the noise clean out, and we'll see if you can hear me over this. And now we're speaking, we have the vacuum cleaner going on directly in front of us. This is kind of audio you can expect. Now to move the vacuum cleaner behind us, so it's a little bit of a distance away from us, this is the kind of audio you can spec if you've got some noise happening in the background. The other thing we can do as well is we can enable the voice detect as well. So voice detect is now being enabled. If we stop speaking, it will remove that background noise. Also with the noise detect, we can uncheck the auto adjust option, and then we can select the voice level, environmental noise. Now you've got 3 increments here. We have soft, the medium, or the loud. So if I put both of these onto loud, we shall begin the police siren again. Now can you hear this? When we stop speaking, will it remove that sound? And if we drop this down to the lowest level, which is soft for both, once again, does it remove the background sound? So you may need to have a little play around with these, find out which works best for you, but both of these seem to do the job well. It's the same case for the noise clean out as well. We can uncheck the option and we have low all the way to high. Now you can go through little small increments with this if you want to. It's got a vacuum cleaner on the go. Now this is with the option set to low. Can you hear me loud and clear, or is the vacuum cleaner coming through? If you go to around and do the waypoint, this is the kind of audio you expect. And if you go all the way to the high, this has been the better job of eliminating that background sound, and it really still comes through clear.